Good afternoon to everyone at today's public hearing of the Prosecutor Vetting Commission. My name is Christopher Lehman, and I declare this session of the Commission to be open. Our Commission is established under Law 252 on the external evaluation of judges and prosecutors. Under Article 22, Paragraph 13 of that law, it provides that this Commission will assess candidates for the Superior Council of Prosecutors Discipline and Ethics Board according to the procedures and criteria regulated by Law 26 of 2022 on the measures related to the selection of candidates for the positions of members in the self-administration bodies of the prosecutors. The hearing is also being conducted under the Commission's rules of procedure for evaluations under Law 26 of 2022. The subject of today's hearing is Alexandru Lozan, a candidate for the Superior Council of Prosecutors Discipline and Ethics Board. Mr. Lozan, let me extend a welcome to you. I am joined today by my colleagues on the Commission. From my far right, that would be Nadezhda Hryptievsky, Irmantis Mikalonis, Virginia Marara, Vice Chair. From my far left, Cornel Lebedinsky, and to my immediate left, Saskia de Vries. The Commission is also assisted by members of our Secretariat. This hearing is open to the public and members of the media. The hearing will be conducted in Romanian and in English, and in order to allow for accurate interpretation, I ask everyone to speak slowly and clearly. These proceedings are being recorded, and the recordings will be available online on the Commission's website within 3 days after the hearing. Mr. Lozan, during the hearing, one or more members of the Commission may ask questions to you. Please answer them truthfully and completely. Your explanations are important to us in establishing your financial and ethical integrity. In formulating our questions, and this is important, we take into account your privacy and, where required and possible, the privacy of family members and close persons. So that means we leave out any unnecessary details relating to ID numbers, bank account numbers, specific addresses of real estate, and the like. And for your protection and your privacy, I would ask that in your answers, you take a minute to do the same. At the end of the hearing, you will be given an opportunity to make a brief closing statement. I'll start by briefly reviewing the evaluation process for the candidate. The Commission initiated its evaluation process on the 22nd of December of 2023 by notifying the candidate by email and asking you to complete and return the ethics questionnaire and a financial declaration form. The candidate returned the completed questionnaire and declarations on the 28th of December 2023. As part of the evaluation of the subject's ethical and financial integrity, the Commission also obtains information from many other sources. Those include the National Integrity Authority, the State Fiscal Service, the General Inspectorate of the Border Police, other public institutions, financial institutions, and open source information. The Commission assesses the information it obtains from these sources for relevance and reliability. The Commission also sent you 3 rounds of questions on the 4th of September 2024, the 20th of September 2024, and the 1st of October 2024, to which you all responded, to all of which you responded. On the 8th of October of this year, 2024, the Commission invited you to attend today's hearing, and at that time we notified you of the specific topics that... I will wait a minute while the... At that time, when we notified you of the date of the hearing, we also notified you of the specific matters that would be addressed at today's hearing. Mr. Lozan, thank you again for appearing today. I will begin with a few short questions for you, and I ask you to respond in a complete and truthful manner. First, I'd like to ask you if you wish to make any additions or corrections to the answers that you have previously provided to the Commission in our request for information.
Careva completări și obiecții la momentul în sunt?
At the moment, I have no additions or objections.
And I would like to confirm if the answers that you provided in the 5-year declaration and the ethics questionnaire that you returned to the Commission on the 28th of December 2023, are those still accurate as of today?
Da, desigur.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. At this point, I will yield to my colleague, Mr. Lebedinsky, for further questions.
Bună ziua, stimate domnule procuror Lozan. Întrebările mele vor fi grupate. Da, puteți să...
Hello, Mr. Lozan. My questions will be grouped.
It's okay? Întrebările care le voi adresa
The questions
grupa în două.
that I will be asking will be
În cadrul
in two groups.
întrebărilor adresate, m-am stăruit să
In these questions, I tried to abstain from full disclosure of personal data, so I used abbreviations if they are unclear or we need to mention them in full. Please let us know. We will mention them and then they will be blurred during the public presentation of the material. Let's start. So the first set of questions is regarding the failure to declare the savings of your family that were used for the purchase of an apartment in 2020. The first question is the following. According to the sale purchase agreement dated February 28, 2020, you and your family sold an apartment on V Street for 690,400 lei. Do you confirm this information?
Vă mulțumesc pentru răspunsul dumneavoastră.
I confirm. Thank you for your answer. According to the sale purchase agreement dated February 28th, also 2020, you and your family purchased an apartment. It's on the same street, but we will mention this as V1. And you paid 904,327 lei, 35 ban. Do you confirm this information? Yes, I confirm. Thank you. In the first round of questions, you explained that the source of the funds used in 2020 to purchase the apartment V1 was the income from the sale of the V apartment and your family savings. Do you confirm this information? I confirm. Therefore, the Commission has noticed a difference between the income obtained from the sale of the V apartment and the payment for the purchase of the V1 apartment of 213,927 lei. Do you confirm? Yes, I confirm. Thank you. In the first round of questions, you mentioned to the Commission the following, I quote, given the obligation to declare cash income in national and/or foreign currency that exceeds 15 average salaries set by law number 133 of 2016 on the declaration of assets and personal interests, I declare that between 2007 and 2022, at the end of each year, I did not have savings in the Republic of Moldova or abroad. Do you confirm that you submitted this information? Yes, I confirm. Thank you. You submitted the asset and personal interest declaration to NIA for 2019 on February 20th, 2020, before purchasing the V1 apartment. And you did not declare cash savings in that declaration. I would like to emphasize that in 2020, 15 average salaries represented 119,295 lei.
Confirmați că ați prezentat această
Do
informație?
you confirm that you presented this information?
Concretizare.
One clarification.
Procurată în anul
The apartment
2020.
was not purchased in 2020.
S-a indicat 2019 declarația.
You mentioned the declaration for 2019.
Deci depusă 2019.
Oh, we are
Corect, da.
yes, correct. Then I confirm.
Mulțumesc frumos.
Thank you very much.
În runda 2 de întrebări,
In the second round of
ne rugați să
questions,
explicați
when
de
asked
ce nu ați declarat
why
economiile
you did not declare
în declarația anuală
the savings
pentru anul
in the
2019,
annual declaration for 2019,
dumneavoastră ați oferit următorul
you offered
răspuns,
the
iarăși
following
citesc.
answer, and I quote again.
Presupun omisiunea că am
I probably
indicat economiile
did not
numerar la cea
indicate the
rubrică
cash
pentru
savings in the
2019,
respective
dar vă rog să nu
field
luați
for
în considerare
2019 due to an omission, but I ask you not to regard this as an inability to cover the expenses because the asset declaration submitted until 2019 shows that I did not purchase any real estate property and I did not have significant expenses that could have affected the financial integrity of the Lozan family. Do you support this position? Yes, I support it. Thank you.
Dar vă rog să explicați comisiei
But please explain to the Commission
care ar fi suma
what would
și
be
răspunsul corect, cel care
the amount and the correct answer, the one you mentioned in the first round of questions that you did not have savings exceeding 15 average salaries, or the one in the second round of questions when you declared that you might have had such savings. Thank you.
Întrebarea mi-e clară? Deci,
The
vă rog să
question is
luați
clear.
refer răspunsul
Please
la runda doi,
use the answer in the second round when I mentioned exactly
care a fost pentru achiziționarea apartamentului.
the source of funds for purchasing this apartment. In the first round, I mentioned in general that I did not have cash that should have been mentioned in that field in the asset and the personal interest declaration. Because in 2019, indeed, I did not mention this amount. So therefore, in the first round, I mentioned this.
În realitate, într-adevăr,
In reality, indeed,
la sfârșitul anului
at the end of 2019,
avut o sumă care depășea
I had an amount that exceeded 15 average salaries,
indicată în
and
rubrica
it
respectivă.
should have been mentioned in that field.
Respectiva normă.
But because that regulation was new, it had been enforced for 1-2 years, we did not have clear instructions for indicating this amount. And I consider that since I mentioned all the incomes that my family acquired in 2019, it was enough to justify the later expenses. So I did not try to hide the fact that I had that money.
Vă mulțumesc pentru răspunsul desfășurat.
Thank you for the detailed
O întrebare de
response.
concretizare
I'd like to ask a clarification
privire la
question
modul de declarare a
on
intereselor personale
how the
ANI.
assets and personal interests are declared to NIA.
Cunoașteți despre
Do you
regulamentul
know
privind
the
depunerea
regulation about
declarațiilor
the
de
submission
verificare
of the assets and personal interest declarations that is published on the official site of this national authority?
Da, o cunosc,
Yes, I know it, but I restate that in 2019,
am fost în neștiință de cauză.
I was not aware how to mention all the aspects, because there were issues related to other aspects also, not only related to the cash that persons had, but also other aspects. Along the way, this didn't happen anymore, and it is clear for
Mulțumesc
us.
pentru răspunsul dumneavoastră.
Thank you for your answer.
Următoarea întrebare.
The next question.
Runda 3.
In the third round, you were asked to explain whether you had cash savings at the end of each year between 2017 and 2022, inclusively to offer information on the cash amount available at the end of each year, the source of the declared cash savings. And you offered the following answer, that at the end of 2019, you and your family had savings of 200,000 lei. This came from salaries and from the activity carried out by your wife. Do you confirm this data? Yes, I confirm this. I mentioned this approximate amount because I did not have any records, but approximately this was the amount. It is correct. If so, please tell us what is the margin of error, plus, minus, how much, and what would be the closest figure, because this is important. This is not a big margin, maybe 10,000 lei. Thank you. These savings that you mentioned in the table from the third round were with you on the 1st of January 2020. That means at the end of one calendar year, the beginning of a different calendar year, or you had it when you filled in the declaration for 2019, the one that was submitted to NIA, on the assets and personal interests of your family for 2019. I will try to clarify this. It happened so that in that period, I was involved in submitting the declaration and the negotiation on the sale of an apartment and the purchase of another apartment. And you will see that the sale and the purchase took place on the same day. So I was involved in this and in the submission of the declaration. I remember that we were about to pay this amount of approximately 200 or 200,000, 210,000 lei. So we saved this amount because we wanted to purchase this apartment. And at the end of 2019, we had this 200,000 lei. And there were approximately 10,000 lei that I saved in 2020 from the salaries from January and February, and they were used for the purchase of the apartment. So at that moment, I did not have the full amount, but approximately this was the amount, 200,000. It was gathered throughout 2019 from the salary incomes of the family. I did not have any other incomes except the ones that I declared. I did not have any credits from the bank. I did not have loans, donations from the parents. So everything was saved from the salary income. Thank you for your answer, but I would still like to clarify. If I understood correctly, this amount of 200,000 lei is the amount on the 1st of January. But what was the amount that you had in savings when you submitted the declaration? When I submitted the declaration, I think it was approximately 220,000 lei, the amount necessary to pay for the apartment, because when I submitted the declaration, I already knew that I had to add to the income obtained from the sale of the previous apartment an amount that amounted to 220,000 lei. So at that moment, I had this amount. The interpreter cannot hear.
Vă mulțumesc pentru răspunsul dumneavoastră.
Thank you for your
Întrebarea
response.
mea constă în faptul că
My question is related to the following.
în runda 2 de întrebări,
In the
dumneavoastră
second
ați,
round of questions,
declarat că totuși ați
when
avut
you
careva
declared
economii,
that
a
you,
coincis cu faptul că
however,
în
had
acest
some
round de
savings,
întrebări,
this coincided with the fact that in the same round of questions, we had the question regarding the sale and purchase of these two apartments and this price difference that was paid in lei. You, as a prosecutor
rog să dați
who
o
had a career
considerare
in this field,
a faptului acestui
please,
studiu, cum ați tratat dumneavoastră
have an assessment of this doubt. How would you treat this doubt? Is it related or not to the fact that this difference between the sale and purchase price was mentioned, and to the fact that you did not mention these incomes, these savings in the declaration for 2019? Thank you.
Dar eu recunosc că au apărut suspiciuni.
Yes, I admit
în
that
de comisie.
some suspicions appeared among the members of the Commission, but I would like to restate
Înțelegerea mea personală
that
că,
this was my
am
personal
declarat
understanding
veniturile obținute.
that
Am
I
considerat că
had
este
declared all my
suficient
incomes,
pentru
so I
a
consider this was
justifica
enough
cheltuielile
to
care le-am
justify
avut.
the expenses that
Înțeleg
I
că a fost o
incurred.
greșeală,
I understand this was a
Iar să
mistake,
mai
but I
fie
hope,
Desigur, și nu a mai fost ulterior.
but of course, this didn't happen later.
câteva întrebări. Una ține
Thank
de
you.
valuta
A
în
few
care a
more
avut loc
questions.
tranzacția de
One is related to the
vânzare,
currency
cumpărare
for the
a
transaction for the sale
apartamentului
purchase of
V1.
the
În ce
V1
valută
apartment.
ați achitat
So
pentru
I
aceste
would like to know in what currency you paid for this
Deci,
apartment.
atât vânzarea primului
So
apartament, cât
both the
cumpărarea
sale of the first apartment and the purchase
V2
of the
au avut
V2
o
apartment
valută
was in euro.
Vă mulțumesc.
Thank you.
Luând în considerație că ați declarat
Given
că
the
acele
fact that you
economii,
declared
în runda
that,
trei, când ați declarat că
well,
acele
in the
economii
third
de
round, when
200.000
you
lei
stated
provin
that
din salariul dumneavoastră de procuror
savings from 200,000
și
lei
și
come from
venitul
your
soției dumneavoastră,
salary
Prosecutorul
as
Republicii Moldova, și a
procurer,
fost declarată în
prosecutor,
lei
and from
Republicii
the
Moldova.
incomes of your
Vă rog să ne
wife, which is
explicați
in
Comisiei,
lei. Please explain to
unde și
the
în ce mod
Commission
ați făcut,
where
transferul din,
and how
valuta
did you
Republicii Moldova
do
în
the
lei
transfer
pentru a achita
from
această diferență de
Moldovan lei to
și
euro
dacă vă solicitați
to pay
careva
for this
documente
difference,
adiționale
and
conform
whether
legislației
additional
Republicii Moldova,
documents
nu vă lăsați.
were requested according to the legislation of the Republic of Moldova regarding to the exchange. The exchange was carried out monthly or regularly at the exchange houses. No documents were requested, but the amounts that I had in each transaction were not that high. So I did not exchange a high amount. So each month I would exchange this period. I apologize. Monthly in what period? In 2019. So monthly in 2019 you did these transactions. Yes, thank you. Do my colleagues have any questions for this set of questions? For this topic? Hello, Mr. Lozan. I didn't understand quite well. Could you explain when you mentioned the failure to declare you mentioned that you did not declare this cash amount in 2019 because there were some issues. What kind of issues? There were no issues, but the way I understood this was wrong. So my understanding on the declaration of this amount was wrong. I considered that it is enough to mention my incomes in the first section, so the incomes of my family. And let's say that it was not clear, not even when we were discussing with my colleagues, whether this amount should be mentioned or not. Is it enough if the amount indicated under incomes was enough. So I admit that I misunderstood this. Were you a subject of declaration before 2019? Yes. This is what misled me, because by 2019 I had no amounts that should have been declared in that field. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, I also have a clarification question on these declarations regarding your understanding of what you read in the law. I suppose that you studied the law individually, because this involved legal liability if you filled in the declaration with mistakes. Did you have any meetings with the representatives of NIA, or maybe you had consultations, or maybe you requested counseling from the National Authority for Integrity on how to fill in the declaration? No, we had no such meetings, neither with NIA nor in the subdivision where I'm working. There was the green line, but this was very problematic. It was difficult to contact them. And if I remember well, in that period, they moved from the building on Bodoni to Ștefan cel Mare, and all these elements gathered. So this aspect and these transactions for the sale and purchase of the apartments together led to the mistake that indeed I made.
If there's no other questions, Cornel, do you want to move on to the next topic?
Stimate domnule procuror, trecem la al doilea grup de întrebări.
Dear Mr. Prosecutor, we'll go to the second set of questions that are related to the purchase price and everything that happened related to the purchase of the Hyundai Tucson car. Do you know what car we are talking about, so that I don't give clarification questions? According to the media investigation carried out by a investigative journalism outlet in 2020, the following is mentioned, that you were in a list of 21 prosecutors for which a group of MPs requested to be investigated by the Office for Preventing and Combating Money Laundering for having declared assets at ridiculously low prices. So I have quoted from that investigation. The MPs have mentioned that you declared the Hyundai car manufactured in 2013, purchased in 2019, purchased worth 100,000 lei. The real price mentioned in that investigation was of more than 9,000 lei. End of quote. On the 18th of November 2019, the Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office registered a criminal case. This was referring to the alleged illegal actions indicated by that group of MPs. And this was referring to the intentional inclusion in the annual declaration for 2019, the asset declaration, of data on the price of a Hyundai car purchased in 2019 for 100,000 lei, a price that was allegedly lower than the real one. End of quote.
According to the order of 10 December 2019, it was decided to decline opening criminal investigation regarding you, regarding the facts mentioned before, because the elements of crime were not found, and the criminal proceedings of 18 November 2019 was closed. How do you explain the aforementioned? I think you are aware of that investigation, you are aware about those proceedings. So what is your position? Not with respect to the purchase, but with respect to what was stated during the process and during the journalist investigation. Thank you.
Da, mulțumesc. De la bun început vreau să
From
menționez
the very
că eu
beginning, I would like to
nu am
say that
citit
I did not
investigația. De fapt, nu știu
read
dacă a
that
fost o
investigation. I
A
don't know
fost,
if
ceva
even
în
if
mass
there
media,
was
o listă
an investigation.
a
There was
unor
something in the
procurori.
media, a list of prosecutors.
Presupun că au fost luate
I
date din
believe
declarațiile
the
de
data
avere,
was
unde s-a
taken
menționat
from
faptul
the
că, automobilul
asset
declarat
declarations,
de mine a
and it
fost,
was mentioned that the car declared by me
arătată valoarea la prețul 100.000. Ceea ce a trezit,
was that the car that I had was declared at a price of £100, which raised doubts among those MPs. And in order to clarify those circumstances, those messages of that letter was sent to the Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office so that certain verifications would be carried out. That's about the investigation. Then I was indeed contacted by the Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office. I was told that such a notification was registered with them and that they are verifying things, and the case prosecutor asked me to provide justifying documentation about that transaction that was made, and I did so. When it comes to explanations or a status in that criminal proceedings, I had none. I was informed only about the result of that verification, the solution that was issued, and I had the possibility to see that order. If you want more comments about that order, I think it was grounded. I did not hide. I declared the real price of the car that I purchased. And even in the question round, I provided explanations to the Commission, and I explained that the car was purchased from a limited liability company. That car was used for service purposes. Therefore, there was a more neglectful attitude towards the car. So after it was tested and some technical deficiencies of the car were found, we reached an agreement with the director of that company about me buying that car at the said price. And later on, in the following 2 years, I had to perform certain repair works for the car because it had to be improved, and the amount that I mentioned in the question round, that was it. I didn't have any intent to hide real data. Or, so to say, the salary income that we had in 2017 and 2018 allowed me to purchase a car that would be more expensive than this one. I did not have to hide the real price of the car, or even say I did not have the money that would be asked. I wouldn't have purchased it because it was not a matter of urgency. Based on the materials I provided to the Commission, you saw that the first car I had in my life, when I was 40, I sold it in 2017, and after that, for 1.5 years, I did not have a car, and it wasn't a stringent matter for me to necessarily buy another one. Therefore, the price reported in the declaration is the real one. It was negotiated with the representative of that company based on the technical condition of the car. Thank you for your detailed answer. My next question. How did you find this car? If I remember correctly, it was one of my friends who told me that there was this ad on the website regarding this car. On that very same day, I contacted the person and I went and I met him. I saw the car. On the second day, we went to the inspection or testing, and I think it was on the very same day we made the transaction at the gas station. I think it was on the second or maybe third day. From what I remember, that company was selling the car because they wanted to buy another car after that transaction. That's why, like in 2 or 3 days, we carried out the transaction. To clarify one thing, you declared now that the transaction was at a gas station. No, not gas station. I meant car inspection station. I wonder about the payment. How did you pay? Did you put the money on the account? Did you put in cash? I gave the director of the company the amount in euros equivalent to 100,000 lei. And that would be how much? 5,100 something, around that. I don't remember the precise exchange rate. It was above 5,000 euros. Next question. The 100,000 lei price, was that the official initial price published on the website that you mentioned? Website of news and ads? Or was that a price that you negotiated as a result of talking to the representative? The price was not mentioned on the website. You know, many people do not set the amount for which they sell the car. When we met, the person asked or said that they want for that car the amount of 6,500 euros, if I'm not mistaken. I said, okay, let's go and test the car and see what deficiencies are there. So after we found the results of a technical inspection, we negotiated to the real price, because indeed the repair works that were performed later really decreased the price for that car. So it was the amount that the price was taken down. Do I understand correctly? The initial asked price by the seller and the final it has a difference of 1,400, 500 euros, right? Yes. Next question here. Given that, according to public data and data that were raised in the criminal proceeding that took place, the market price of such a car at that time was almost double than what you declared as purchase price. So how did you explain what was the economic feasibility of that company, of that transaction for the company? It's clear it was feasible for you, but what about for the company? I can't explain. I mean, the only thing I understood from the representative of the company is that they were going to buy a car, and it was either already brought in the country or it was in the car dealership, and they needed to buy it. And later on, as I understood, they did buy it, because I think I met that person afterwards. Given the fact that I needed to have some repair works for the car, and I asked him to tell me where could I get some car service, because I did not have such a car model before, and I asked him. So I understood from him that they, after the transaction, they purchased that other car. That's the entire explanation I can give to you. Thank you for your answer. I just want to say that I don't know If the company had any issues with the state tax service, because I imagine that their activity is subject to financial inspections as well, and any transaction is checked. So I don't know about any things like that. So I can't express an opinion about that side. Thank you for your answer. Next question. What was your relationship with this company, or with a person from that company, or the representative with whom you negotiated the price before the purchase of a car? Thank you. I declare that prior to buying this car, I did not know that person. I did not know what that company was working in. I only found out the name of that company at the moment of the transaction, when I saw the power of attorney based on which the sale and purchase contract was drafted. Subsequently, I had 1 or 2 meetings or phone discussions, as I said before, regarding the repair works of a car. No other contacts with that person ever since, and I don't know what he is doing. Thank you for your answer. A question. At the time of negotiation and inspecting the car, while you are in process of purchasing it, did the seller know about your position in the prosecutorial service? I mean, this question is logical given the big difference in price. I understand your suspicion, and I prefer not to say where I am working. And I did not mention that during the purchase, and it wasn't appropriate. That wouldn't have given me any favor. Thank you, Prosecutor. I have a last question. It's somehow combining the first and the second group. You mentioned in the written question round and today in this public hearing that indeed the car was subject to some repair work, some changes after it was purchased, and you provided some receipts confirming that. Therefore, on February the 3rd, 2020, you paid 7,247 lei for repair works. On the same day, February the 3rd, you paid another amount, 2,700 lei, and on 7th of March, you paid 10,417 lei. So, taking into account that you declared there were 200,000 at the beginning of the year, you had this reserve, and quite significant amount of payments that were around 20,000 lei at that time. How did you compensate that? And you also managed this increase of more than 13,000 to compensate the difference between the price of the apartments V and V1. I understand your question. As I mentioned, when purchasing the apartment, and you mentioned the details, I also used the salary I received in 2020, because 2 months and the salary was 20,000 lei, I had the possibility to save some, and I'd like to add here that I would like to add here the salary of my wife, as well as the income obtained by her during those 2 months as a result of her entrepreneurial activity. All those amounts together were used both for purchasing the apartment and the car. Esteemed Prosecutor, I am done with my group of questions. Let's see if my colleagues have anything to add.
Are there any other questions? Saskin.
Thank you. Just a few questions for clarification, Mr. Lozan. When you decided to get another car, had you decided on this type of car?
Nu,
No,
n-aș zice că anume acest
I
model,
wouldn't say
însă,
that I decided on this
da,
specific
vreau
type,
un
but I
automobil,
wanted a
cu
car
capacitate de motor,
with
într-adevăr, de 2,
with a engine capacity of 2
benzină. Mi-a plăcut
and
modelul,
for it to
adică
be
vizual,
gas fuel.
Asta a
And I
fost,
liked the model visually, how it looked.
știu,
looked.
calificativele când am
So
ales
these
mașina.
were
Știți
the
că odată așa, la prima privire, ai
factors
văzut-o
that
și parcă ți-a plăcut.
it's sometimes you see something and you like it at first sight. So like that.
And you liked the car, so you started negotiations. Did you check what a reasonable price should be for a car like this, with this make, the year it was built, the number of kilometers that was clocked?
Deci nu am avut experiență.
I did not have major
nici ca
experience,
șofer, nici ca
not as a
proprietar
driver,
de
not as an
automobil.
owner of the
La acel
car,
moment, până la
by
acel
that
moment,
time.
am
Because
deținut
by that
doar un
time I
singur
had
automobil.
only one car
Evident
before
că
that. And
când
of
am
course,
negociat, m-am
when I
uitat,
negotiated,
în primul
I
rând,
looked
m-am
first
condus
of
de
all
prețul și de
at
starea
the
tehnică.
price
Aceste două
and at
factori
its
și-au,
technical condition. These were the two factors that contributed to buying that car.
prețul, calitatea,
So based on the price and quality of the car.
So you did not check whether it was a reasonable price for that car, for this particular car.
Cu certitudine, da, că eu, zicem așa, în linii generale,
Well,
cunoșteam cam cât
I
corează
knew,
automobil.
like generally,
depinde
what was
la
the
caz
price
la
of
caz,
cars,
de
but again,
automobil
from
la automobil.
a case to
Ori
another,
asupra
from a car to
prețului,
another, it differed. And when it comes
influența, cum am
to the
și
price,
spus mai
it was influenced,
anterior,
as I said
atât
before,
starea tehnică a
by
automobilului,
the
cât
technical
și
condition of a car
modelul automobilului.
and the model
Cât și,
of the
cred
car.
că, disponibilitatea vânzătorului
And
în
I
anumite
think
situații
also
să
the
negocieze
availability
anumite
of a
prețuri. Cât
seller
este
to
dispus
negotiate
să
the price, how much
scadă din preț. La fond,
the seller is
poate
ready
să
to
contribuie la acest
go down.
preț și urgență. Adică sunt
Sometimes
multe
if it is a matter of urgency, it
Dar
can
în linii
also
generale, da,
help with
cunoșteam,
negotiating the price. So, but generally, yes, I knew the prices,
eram în căutare
and I was
anume de așa,
looking
o mașină, nu de lux,
for a car
mașină care să ne
like
permită
that,
în
not a
bugetul
luxury
familiei ca
one,
să putem
but
procura
something that would
un
fit our
automobil
budget, that we could buy something that we could afford
adică
to buy
orientativ,
for ourselves.
orientativ, așa și ne uitam la prețurile
So,
acestea.
give or take, that was the price range we were looking at.
I still do not understand, and your explanation, well, maybe we think different about things, but in order to negotiate on a car, I think you need to know how much it is worth in general.
Am rezultat din prețul care dumnealui l-a
I
cerut
relied on the
pentru
price that
vânzarea
he asked
automobilului. Deci,
for
cum am explicat mai sus,
that car. As I mentioned
vânzătorul
before,
a
the
estimat
seller
automobilul
estimated
la
the
prețul
car
de 6.500.
at a price of
Ulterior,
6,500.
rezultatul testării,
And
stabilirii stării
subsequently,
tehnice, am
after we
redus prețul, pentru că
inspected
am
the
convenit,
car,
uite,
the
domnule,
price was reduced.
este
That's what we
necesar de
agreed
a
on.
face
Look,
reparația acolo,
mister,
este
it is
necesar de a
necessary
face
to
acolo.
repair
Și
this
el a
and
fost de
that,
acord cu
and
aceste
he agreed
sume și,
with that
în
amount.
final, am și
So ultimately, we reached that amount.
Thank you.
You, you keep referring to the technical inspection. What did that involve? You said you had a technical inspection of the car before you bought it.
Deci, cum am și explicat, deci, în primul rând, vizual,
First of all,
automobilul era zgâriat.
look at if you look at it visually, it was scratched. It needed painting.
Această lucrare,
And this was done later on, and I provided documentation about that. Also, its chassis had to be repaired, and some parts that were worn had to be replaced. So during that inspection, it was, well, the need to change some spare parts and well, the details that needed to be replaced. That all of that together was shown in the technical inspection.
So you took it to somebody for this technical inspection? I'm confused by your use of the term technical inspection.
Da, am mers împreună cu
So, together with the seller, we went to the Hyundai center where it was tested. The electric components were checked, the engine, the carriage of a car, so, and also visually they checked for deficiencies. And visually you can also see what things need to be repaired.
So do you have a report from this Hyundai center?
Nu.
Where
Din
is
necunoștință de cauză, nu
Where
am
is
păstrat și
I did not keep it because I did not think about it, and that inspection was done back in 2019.
Any other questions? Mr. Lozan? Sorry. Mr. Lozan, at this point, we give you the opportunity to make a brief closing statement for the commission.
Eu vă mulțumesc pentru atenția.
I would like to thank you for your attention and for the questions. I hope that the answers I provided today eliminate all suspicions that might have been about me, because indeed during my work I tried to fulfill the legal requirements, and I hope you will not have doubts about my ethical and financial integrity. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you the best of luck.
Mr. Lozan, thank you for your participation at the hearing today and in this evaluation process. The commission will now deliberate on the materials and the matter, and we will issue a decision in due course, and so I will declare the hearing to be closed. Thank you.